We are knee-deep into this amazing 5-hour community collaborative event where 5 channels, 5 topics, that's what we're here to do. So we interrupt the usual Toy Kennections Online or TKO live stream to continue this special Streamathon event. So once again, I'm Ken. I'm going to bring my friends onto the screen here, and we're going to continue our discussion. So for those who've missed it, we had the first hour on Sergeant Slaughter's Slaughterhouse, where we talked Star Wars and 5 underrated characters. We jumped over to Ryan Sweeney's Island, the Misfit Toy Collectors, to talk 5 underrated G.I. Joes. We've jumped onto here right now to talk about Transformers. We'll jump over to Treasures for Trigger Phil for the 4th hour to talk Ninja Turtles, and we'll close off the event on the GoFigure channel where we will talk Masters of the Universe. But let's jump everybody on camera right now, and we'll start with the gentleman who threw us all together and came up with the whole idea of Streamathon. Welcome back, Xazyl.
Whoa, just made it back to my chair in time. I got my coffee ready for round 3. Yeah, this has been fun. So good. Well done to Ryan on the last one. He doesn't do many live streams, and I think he nailed that one.
Well, he's a natural at it, so let's throw him on. Welcome back, Ryan.
Thank you. Had to do a little running myself, so back. Perfect time.
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah, it was a good time for a little bit of a break as well there. So, all right. Phil, how you doing, pal?
Good, mate. Done the t-shirt change, ready for the midstream t-shirt change. So
all right. Perfect.
What a diva.
Something like that. All right. And Adam from GoFigure.
Oh, it's good to be back in Canada again.
Back in your home country, home turf again. So
exactly.
Yes. And let's say a quick hello to the chat and who we've got here. And of course, the chat likes to jump on me. Hans, good to see you. Gazz, TJC, Scuba Pete. We got Jim Largo. We got James. Oh, no, that was Jim Largo again. We got James Ratface. We got Happy Articulated Chad, Toy Kinda Mood, Sergeant Slaughterhouse, one of the members, and on the screen we got Peppermint Oil Capsule back on his usual account. We got Dale Santaford, who I had a great chat with yesterday. Unfortunately, I had to go midway, but great guy to talk to. Jeff Morris said hi to a few of these folks already. And I think Travis is pissed off at me. That's okay. He needs reasons to be pissed off, apparently. We got Paralysis. This is why Ryan didn't want to pronounce it earlier. Paracillus Dragon Balls. And I think I might have already said hi to Payne's Toy Samples. Jody has noticed I got a proper mic. And yes, after much talking to our friends here, including Jody, I got myself a proper microphone. Scuba Pete, I think I already said hi to you, and I think I'm pretty much caught up here, but let's do a few super chats here. Articulated Chad, thank you very much for your generosity as usual. You say because we all rock, streamers and chat, and he's gonna have to bail soon for a baseball game. Yeah, we don't fully know what baseball is up here in Canada. We have the Toronto Blue Jays on Adam's side of the country, but much appreciation for baseball, I guess. Sorry, I didn't mean that sarcastically. I just mean we don't do a lot of that in Canada.
Well,
we know what it is.
There's no crying in baseball.
There we go. That's my line growing up.
But it's funny because you can any day of the week get a ticket to the Toronto Blue Jays for under $20.
And you can't get one for the Maple Leafs for that price.
The Leafs, you can't get one for under $100.
There you go. Or the Senators, for example, in the same.
We are a sport loyal people. That's for sure.
Yep. And this stream would not be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, haven't the Blue Jays won more championships recently than the Maple Leafs too?
That doesn't matter.
That's been 30 years since the last championship. But anyway, and this stream would not be possible without our sponsor, GenXToysGeek, and that's just him giving a kind super chat. But this is actually his StreamYard account that I've been generously granted. So this stream has been brought to you by GenXToysGeek, Jody, in the Netherlands. So, all right. So, sorry, what were we here to talk about? Oh, yes, Transformers. Yes. Okay. Sorry, I did literally. No, because the figures behind are all wrestling, so I almost jumped into like a heel versus face thing again. You know, I jumped a few weeks back, but yes, remembered very quickly. So we're here to talk about our favorite, or I should say, underrated Transformers. Okay, Xazyl, I really didn't forget, but I did forget the other two things, namely the my favorite or my underrated Joe, my underrated Star Wars. Those I legitimately forgot, and I legitimately forgot my favorite Ninja Turtles figure as well. So I'll quickly scroll the chat, and so winging it again.
How did you get in?
Yeah.
It's just one of those things. People get annoyed enough by you, they need someone to hate on screen. So I'll play the heel today. And my opponent for the next Slaughterhouse Wrestling Championship has sent a nice super chat as well. Thank you, Ryan. And Zartan absolutely does rule. All right. So opening comments on Transformers before we dive in, or should I just throw the photos out?
I will say that I think the later commercials, like the Headmasters and the Target Masters, their theme songs are probably as cool, if not cooler, than the cartoon. If you haven't heard them lately, go back and listen to them. They're very cool.
Yeah.
Well,
subtle differences in the lines.
Some, yes. Okay, so I shall share screens here, and let's see. There we go. Well, because we're going in the order that we streamed, that we started the stream, we've got Xazyl's Generation 2 Beachcomber was his choice. And I didn't have a G2 Beachcomber to show, hence the somewhat poorly photographed page out of my book, but I did have a G1 Beachcomber. So Xazyl, underrated, hey? Even oh no, sorry, we're talking about the G2 version, so I can't mention the Golden Lagoon episode.
I think they missed an opportunity to do a gold version, but I guess that would be a bit close to Bumblebee. But yeah, I don't know, the G, you can't really tell from this picture, so well done. But the G2 version is a vac metallized green. It's I don't know. It's hard to talk on. We don't really have a great image of it. Believe it or not, it's underrated and possibly. I mean, Beachcomber is a highly rated figure. Probably mostly remembered from that episode that you mentioned, Ken, with the Golden Lagoon. But this, when I did have the original Beachcomber, but when I saw the Generation 2 version, I had to have it. I think that it instantly, maybe it was because it was shiny and I liked shiny things, but I was all in on, and I retired my blue one and was using only the vac metallized green for my version of Beachcomber. Yeah. Trust me,
Fair enough.
Looks cool. Trust me.
I have it growing up as a kid. And when I took photos of my collection for this, I was like, "Where did my G2 Beachcomber go?" I'm like, "Wait, I don't have one anymore. I need to get another one again at some point because he's just that cool of a character."
I think the catalog picture you did is great.
Yeah,
it really,
great.
It really captures the essence of the figure real well.
Yeah, and showing the blue one over on the side here. Well, if we weren't laughing at something Ken did, that's the real reason I started with this one. We need something to laugh at Ken about.
It's interesting that they always, well, not always, but for the most part, the Minibots, and I guess we'll see later with Perceptor, is that they have like the Prime-esque faceplate, but then they give them an animated mouth in the cartoon, which was always a bit of a head scratcher. Not as much of a head scratcher as Ironhide was. Thank God they fixed that for the cartoon. But Beachcomber overall it's also just a perfect transformer. He's got, when you think about it, he's got leg articulation, right? It's due to the transformation, but you can still put him in a running pose. The arms don't look overly janky like Bumblebee's can, and by extension, every other one that sort of has that sort of like Cliff Jumper and Hubcap and all of those. Oh, Phil dropped out. Phil's not a fan of Transformers.
He knows he has a few minutes before he's got to talk, but it says device not connected, but he's still there. He just has to reconnect himself. Anyway, carry on.
So I don't know. I think Beachcomber was overall, first of all, a very top tier character, one of my favorites, and I don't know. There's something about the green one that put him above the blue one when I was a kid. That's my spiel, and I'm sticking. Well,
it's making me want to get all the G2 ones again. I think I have the Bumblebee, which basically is Goldbug, and no, that's not Cliff Jumper. That's Hubcap for some reason, and then where the glare is, that's actually Sea Spray with the metallic blue. I will ask Adam and Ryan for their thoughts in a second, but first I just want to say thank you, Travis Moody, for the super chat. Apparently, he's not mad at me. He just wants to get me more drunk Ken on air, and I have to try to do one of those like introductions and getting my friends on while I'm actually drunk. I'll like get everybody on screen in the wrong order or something like that. But if you want to see Drunken Ken, don't plan it. Just like take a chance that I'll be going to the bar and invite me on a stream, and I won't be able to say no. So yeah, so gents, I mean, open the floor up for a second. Any thoughts on Beachcomber and his overrated underratedness? Did Xazyl get this one right?
So I would say the only disclaimer, not a Transformers fan. I was a GoBots kid. The scale of the Transformers made no sense to me. They were, in my mind, impossible to play with, having Bumblebee and Optimus Prime being and then like Megatron didn't make any sense. I was like, this is nonsense. GoBots were a clean scale. However, the Minibots fit into scale with the GoBots.
Mm-hmm.
So one of my favorite GoBots was Buggy Man, who was like an orange dune buggy. And then at the Red Rock Fishing Festival when I was a kid, they had this big room full of prizes, and parents weren't allowed in. And when your name was called, you got to go and pick your own prize. And I chose Generation 2, Vac Metalized Green. And I always played with him as Buggy Man's brother.
Oh, cool.
So that, to me, he was not a Transformer. He was just a really cool GoBot. And so I think he is one of my all-time favorite GoBots, or Transformers. And so I would say he is very underrated. I think that the Minibots don't get enough credit. I think that for a lot of Transformers collectors, Minibots are more like souvenirs and things to put on your dashboard of your car, and they don't compete with Optimus Prime. But I think they are, as far as playable and toys for kids, they are top shelf.
I think it's interesting that they changed the color of Beachcomber for G2, but everyone else is basically the right color. Whether or not you subscribe to Hubcap or Cliffjumper, it's you would still expect a red Minibot. Bumblebee is still gold. Sea Spray is still Sea Spray's colors, and they just up and changed Beachcomber to that green.
But it looks great. Totally looks great. So I'm just going to say a couple words to the chat here. First off, thanks Mark Weber for stopping by. I know he's usually on What's on Joe Mind and did some work for Hasbro there. So bit of a legend joining us in the chat. And Jim Largo, thank you for the super chat.
Also worked on the brand too for a little while.
Yep. Oh yeah, absolutely. Jim Largo, thanks for the super chat. Says doing fine. Appreciate that, Jim. And don't let Beachcomber kick some sand in your face. Lots of fun watching Streamathon. Thanks everyone, and thank you for being here and everyone else in the chat. Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want Xazyl to feel bad, but I took because of the way this was all set up. I took slightly better photos for everybody else's. I just didn't have enough G2 Beachcombers to.
I can only take this personal.
Yeah, and what do you call it? I happen to have a masterpiece-esque / third-party Anna G1 for Perceptor, so I knew this transition was going to be a bit of an awkward and weird one. But Xazyl, you can bust my balls or choose to forgive me later on. But Ryan,
I'll do both.
Next time you have Sarge on and you don't want Ken, I'll remember to give you better pictures. Just so you know.
Cheers, Ryan.
So we got this masterful picture of Perceptor. And Ryan, talk to us about your chosen underrated character. So with Transformers, I was a GoBot kid as well too, because that's what I could find in my area. Mm-hmm. But when I saw like Blaster and Soundwave and the bigger Transformers, I'm like, these are cool. But when I saw Perceptor, I was hooked. It was actually one of the first Transformers I actually asked for Christmas, and my mom got him for me, and he worked as a microscope. And I'm just like, this is the best Transformer ever, because he was so cool. I loved how he transformed. It didn't look like the rest of the Transformers, like with Optimus Prime, where his arms could do this or flat down. He was just, I love this Transformer.
it finally just fell apart, and I finally had to just let him go. But God, I love this Transformer. He's so awesome.
Yeah, I'm with you, Ryan. This was one of my favorites as a kid too. I also believe that I purposely asked for it as opposed to getting one as a gift. Loved the gimmick, loved the look of him, working microscope, everything about him was awesome. Faceplate was a head scratcher if you know the cartoon, but yeah, other than that, great character.
Adam or Phil?
Yeah, if you watch the toys that sorry, Adam, if you watch the toys that made us, the Japanese guy that designed a lot of these figures, he actually said that Perceptor is his favorite.
Oh, Yoki-san.
Yeah.
When he retired, they presented him with like a Perceptor sculpture with his name on it. So yes.
Yeah. So that, I guess that says a lot about Perceptor. And yeah, I never had him as a kid, but I've got him now as an adult collector. And yeah, again, his colors just pop. He looks fantastic. The scale is great. I think he's fantastic. I love Perceptor.
And Ken, I'm gonna my dumbness when it comes to Transformers. The one to the right is the original version 1, correct?
Yes, that's the G1. The one in the middle is by Fans Toys. They called it Fans Toys, I think Tesla, because they couldn't use the name, and I just threw a Toy Hack / Repro Labels sticker on the chest, but it looks so good with the other masterpieces. And then the one on the far left is the more recent Studio 86 version of him.
And I'm going to be the crazy one, but I still think the version 1 looks better out of the three of them. Just
the G1?
Yeah, looks like a toy.
Yeah, it looks like an actual toy and less of jumping out of the cartoon. And Impossiblepie wonders why he didn't shrink when transforming. Well, because he wasn't actually used as a microscope, like a household microscope. Like in the movie when Optimus finishes his battle with Megatron, Perceptor is a full-size microscope when he says, "I fear the wounds are fatal." He needs to be that size to inspect the other Autobots. So that's why he didn't. But I mean, he did come from micro change. There's the all black version of him, which I still hopefully will track down one day.
So
when it comes to Perceptor,
so for me, robot mode, he looks great. Like he's a great looking figure. Play value turning into a microscope the size of a truck. This is the key example why I was like out for Transformers and in for GoBots. I was like, this to me, like a truck I can play with, a microscope in the middle of a battle, like I'll transform. Like there's no advantage. I don't know. The robot.
Well, he's got a third tank mode.
He does. I just saying, this to me was a stretch. I wasn't out for this. But as a robot mode, he looked great, and it was a cool toy. Doesn't rate high on my list, but I can understand how this would be a desirable Transformer for a Transformers guy.
Fair enough. Well, we'll get to yours shortly here. But as far as he's concerned, I had one as a kid. I may have broken it. I can't remember now. Maybe I purchased from my memory, but ended up getting him again as an adult. He just looks cool, especially in robot mode. Yeah, I don't know why I don't care for the microscope mode very much, but he's a must-have as far as I'm concerned. So
to me, it was always that cosplay type effect where it was little robots. To me, the kid playing with them, it's like Megatron with the gun, which it was the man from Uncle Gun to me. Yeah. But I would play with that as like a gun, and it would transform into a little robot. So That's how I always would play with these type of Transformers, more so than I couldn't merge the two worlds together. That's why. With Adam, I was more that GoBots type guy because it worked a little bit better for me.
Ryan, you make an absolutely great point because Perceptor is literally a robot in disguise. If you have him as a microscope, if your parents walked in, right, they wouldn't be able to tell that was a robot. It'd just be sitting on your shelf looking like a microscope.
Especially if you had the micro change version in the black, then for sure it would look like a high school microscope. So. Yeah,
all the parents wondering why their kids are doing this science.
You can play with toys. Yeah. I'm doing my homework. I swear. Look,
I need some more petri dishes.
And the same goes. The same goes with Soundwave. The same goes with Blaster. Right? If you don't look too hard, those are tape decks.
Yep.
Right? They are robots
or boombox. Yeah.
They are truly robots in disguise. Anyway.
I read this line in Perceptor's voice in the movie. Cursory evaluation capabilities indicate a distinct tactical deficiency. I don't know why I read that exactly in Perceptor's voice, but when he was in that mode saying this line, he was basically in telescope mode. Forget microscope. He was looking up into the sky when he made that comment. So it's actually quite interesting.
In other words, Perceptor, we're outnumbered.
We could just table read the movie here, just like we did for the G.I. Joe one. Have some fun there. Phil, as far as your choice here, Scourge, we've got the left to right, we've got the G1 version, we've got the X-Transbots third-party Masterpiece style, and the recent Studio 86. Talk through us about Scourge.
Okay, so yeah, Scourge. My feeling with Scourge is that he's you love him or you hate him kind of a figure or character. I love him, obviously. So yeah, in terms of comparing, he's a Decepticon jet, of course, and if you compare him with the other jets, he looks obviously very, very different, and maybe not as cool looking in the transport mode as the other jets. But I love his face sculpt in robot form, his grumpy old man face sculpt with his beard and mustache there.
Yeah.
So he does look quite unique and different, and a lot of people sort of take the piss out of him a little bit when you transform him into his vehicle mode. He kind of looks like a cake of soap or some kind of household, an iron or something to iron your clothes with or something like that. So he's just a little bit goofy looking, but I love him. I think he's great. I love his colors as well. But yeah, my feeling is he's either you love him or you hate him, kind of a figure.
Yep.
So I think the older I get, the more I can relate to Scourge being grumpy old with a beard.
Old and grumpy? Yeah, me too. For sure.
Who was Scourge originally? If we're going by the movie, was it Bombshell? Was it who was the other Seeker? Dunker? Who turned into Scourge is the question. Opening question. And the sweeps. I think there's some. I think I like the idea that they were Insecticons and the ass cracker. Jeez, I like the idea that they were possibly Insecticons because they can sort of multiply. There's a lot of them, like sweep number 1, sweep number 2, sweep number 3.
Yeah,
it was either Sky or Thundercracker. Okay, well, I think isn't this one where when you transform it, his face can still be visible?
Yeah, I think you can pop the latch and you can still see his face. Yeah.
Because they use that gimmick in the cartoon too.
But Transformers are always the best when you would half transform them and do your own thing with them. In my mind, you know what I mean? Like if you had Optimus Prime as a truck, but with his fists punching through walls, that was more fun than just a truck.
Yeah, true.
I think there is a couple of versions. There's a couple of versions of them as well. There's a Target Master version of them as well. So that's extra brownie points.
What a time for a delivery to come at the door and be like, and my phone buzzing. We need you right now. I'm like, I'm in the middle of us. Oh, and no one else is home. How convenient. Anyway, I caught the Target Master stuff, and I was about to bring that up. As far as Scourge is concerned, as that adds a lot to his character. I'm not sure if he was a Target Master in the Headmaster season of 1987, but he was definitely featured in the 3-episode Rebirth cartoon as a Target Master here. But
that's a great idea to re-release characters too, is to give them something else, not just a recolor, but to add value to it. And making him a Target Master or anyone a Target Master added value to a re-release, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I believe it was Thundercracker that became Scourge.
And he had painted nails. Not bad for an 80s figure, right?
Yes, absolutely, yeah. So
and
I'm just trying to remember.
To agree with Phil, again, not being a super big Transformers guy, But I loved that he was a different looking jet, with all the Seekers before being kind of like the same, just different color schemes. Like that was cool and all, but to see finally like a different looking jet going in, I loved that. I thought that was awesome. So thumbs up for this figure for
flying
me.
hovercraft, yeah.
Well, that's just it, right? Like even Cyclonus had a sleek sort of jet kind of look, whereas this you didn't really know what it was. It was literally like a ambiguous hovercraft of sorts, you know. And he was a great army builder. I mean, you probably touched on that when I was away, but it's one of those characters you could actually army build because there weren't that many army build options for Transformers, right? So yeah, for sure. Now I know you said you're not a big Transformers guy, Adam, but you're gonna have to be for the next few minutes.
Maybe with it.
You can deal with it, but you elected to go with, speaking of jets, Powerglide. So
yeah,
got the X Transbots masterpiece style one on the right here with the G1 on the left. I don't think they've released one in War for Cybertron Legacy or Studio 86 yet, but you can talk through these two for sure.
So as I talked about my play pattern earlier, how I was a GoBots kid and used the Minibots as GoBots, this airplane was a bit of a bigger scale. So for me, he was a big character as opposed to being a small character here. And like I say, he does not work as a Transformer because you can't put this guy next to Starscream and say, yes, they're in the same universe. That does not make any sense. However, this guy next to Leader One, all day long. So I love that. I love the simplicity of his transformation, but it looked great. And I love the articulation in his arms. Like he was maybe the most articulated Transformer in the arms. They could kind of do all kinds of stuff. So to me, this was like play value, and in the GoBots world, a dynamite figure. And I loved him. And he was one of the guys that I put in my pocket and take to church on Sundays. He was small enough to do that, and it was fantastic.
Yeah, he basically had G.I. Joe articulation in the arms, more or less. I mean, add an elbow swivel and you're basically there. And he had a lot of time in the cartoon, but he was never portrayed as being particularly powerful, right? He was just sort of there if you needed someone for a few fancy lines and to kind of swirl around the skies a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah. Xazyl, Ryan, or Phil, any thoughts on old Powerglide here?
He was awesome because he was an A10 Warthog.
Yeah. What?
You know, it was an A10 Warthog. Yeah,
okay.
It's a rattler to me, and having him with my Matchbox toys or with my GoBots, it was just perfect to have that mix.
Well, they repainted. I think they did do like a Rattler crossover at some point. I'm pretty sure.
Yep.
It was a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive.
I feel like I want to get some G1s now and make a Tiger Rat version of this.
Hell yeah!
Ooh,
Nice.
Imagine that.
I think for Powerglide, I think he looks pretty close to his cartoon counterpart. That it's instantly recognizable. There's not really much in the way of, I mean, other than the legs, which it is what it is. But other than that, it's a pretty good representation of what you're going to see in the cartoon, which you don't always get. I think the jet mode looks amazing. I think that it fits in well with the GoBots that Adam mentioned. It's an affordable way to get a fighter jet if you couldn't afford Starscream or whoever. So it gives the Autobots some air power, which up until this point they hadn't had any. Right, aerial bots came out after Powerglide. Maybe it might have been the same. It might have been the same year, but Powerglide was more prominent in the early part of the cartoon. Whereas the aerial bots came kind of towards the end of the second season. I think they retcon later on that Powerglide was part of the aerial bots. And they might have. And so you're right. The aerial bot toy wasn't available till 86. So you're right. It was Powerglide first, even if they appeared in the same season in 85. So yes. Very good point. Perfect. Sorry. Yeah, I was trying to at the same time grab the link for Phil's stream in half an hour here. My computer was slowing down while I was thinking, so my brain slowed down on release date. So we'll go with that excuse. Nothing wrong with those legs, says Peppermint Oil Capsule, but he looks like his pants are falling down around his ankles. hence why the modern versions, right? So imagine toys released today looking like the one on the left.
They would all be broken, Ken. The kids would destroy them.
Yeah.
I think that was part of the reason why I didn't get into Transformers is because the cartoon made them out to be just amazing. And then you would get, this, and you're like, this is it? This is all it does? Okay.
Yeah.
And that was hard.
Yeah. For imaginative play, there was definitely something lacking in the Transformers. The fun was getting enough of them to get an ensemble cast to kind of do your living room battles in. All right.
Transformers are kind of like Ken's library. If you have them all and watch them all, it's great.
Otherwise, forget about them.
Another good thing about the GoBots is that they didn't need accessories. They could shoot out of their fists.
Yes.
Right? They didn't need guns. You just like, and they had female representation from the start.
Yep.
So, another plus for GoBots. Anyway, this is becoming a GoBot appreciation stream. I love GoBots. I love GoBots.
Taking over.
All this GoBots love. I mean, on a Transformer stream with a diehard Transformer guy, what have we become?
I think GoBots are
Back to Minibots.
even Rock Lords. Some of those are better than the
love the Rock
Transformers. Yeah,
People love the Battle for the Rock Lords movie.
yeah.
First
great
movie I saw in the theater.
Nice. I saw it on VHS many times.
So, moving on here, I went with something that would be a little obscure for us, but not so obscure for those overseas. And it was Star Saber and Victory Leo. And I had to think for this one because this is not a character people are familiar with in North America, but it was kind of the key character in the 1989 Victory series, right? So Star Saber was like the main guy, and he was the leader of the Autobots or the Cybertrons during that era. And then Victory Leo was a reformatted Super Ginrai, I think, who was basically who was the Transector who had the face of who had the look of Optimus Prime from the previous year, which was branded here as Power Master Optimus Prime. So so basically Victory Leo in a way was like a reborn Power Master Optimus Prime, but in Japan, the Transector of Power Master Optimus Prime's look was not actually a sentient being. He was powered by his Power Master. So, and in Japan, this was a big deal. Like this character was a big deal. You could combine the two into Victory Saber. I had friends who lived in the Philippines. They'd bring their toys over, and I wasn't in the Philippines then, but I had a friend who moved here and brought this with him. We didn't know the name, but I saw this. It was an '89 toy. I saw this in the '90s, and I was fascinated by it. I'm like, I've never seen this Transformer. Now, again, this is more underrated for us over here. And the reason why I say it's underrated is because they had to do, on the right, you'll see the HasLab Victory Saber. And if he had reached the same popular status overseas as he did here in North America, they would not have to HasLab this. He was the Optimus Prime of his season. And when I look at Victory Saber, I go and say to myself, man, they should just put out 2 leader class or 2 commander class figures. This doesn't need to be a HasLab. But then again, we don't know who he is over here. So it ends up being a HasLab. And to people who are looking at this, they're like, this actually makes sense as a HasLab because it's a more obscure character. And I'm sitting here saying he is way underrated here in North America. If he needed to be a HasLab.
Obscure doesn't mean underrated, though, does it?
No.
If I don't know who it is, it's not rated at all.
No, that's the thing. I was like, who's Ken gonna pick? And I'm like, oh, I have no idea who this is or what Ken is saying.
And sorry, because I had my rhythm thrown off. I never got back to ask those of you whether or not Powerglide or Scourge were overrated or underrated. But I guess for this particular one, I guess the consensus is not rated.
It's hard to rate something I've never seen before.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what I'm looking at. It looks very Power Ranger-y, if that helps.
I'm sure it's very popular where it's from.
I think it looks more like, oh God, good Lord, what are they? The model kits you got to put Gundams. Yeah, yes. It has that Gundam. I think it looks awesome. I can tell this is a Japanese styled robot. I mean, I think it's cool. I'm surprised we didn't see this in the US with as many Transformers as Hasbro brought over.
And I think maybe if it's not underrated by us as fans, at least we can say that it was underrated by the developers who could have thrown this in as it basically is a missed opportunity. Imagine seeing this on the shelves in 1989 or 1990 and having the chance to buy this. Like, this could have revived Transformers potentially during a time when it was going downhill.
This would not have jumped out at me as having any interest at all. By the way, Space Commander, I'll keep an eye out on that VHS for you, buddy. I did see your comment. Yeah, I'm not looking at this and thinking that I would have jumped at it as a kid at all. I think it's. I mean, the robots look a little bit janky. For myself, my collectability back in those days, I would not have gravitated towards this. I think this is perfect for where it came from, and I think that the kids from this Japan would have been all over this. I think it fits in their wheelhouse very well. But for me, and guys, jump in if you disagree, but I just don't think I would have been all over it.
Yeah, in 1990, I was all about Batman and Dick Tracy and Robin Hood, and I think I had moved on from robots, and this isn't Transformers-y enough to get me to look at it, if that makes any sense. Like there isn't. Like it doesn't look like something I know. Even today, I don't. This doesn't look like a Transformer to me. It looks like a Gundam. You're absolutely right.
What does the yellow one turn into?
Victory Leo, some sort of a lion, like a robotic lion of sorts. Yeah.
See,
that's a cool idea.
I have to get that Voltron feel from it, so I think I would have bought this.
See, there you go.
Because I get that.
Well, so we got a split room already as it is.
What kind of size is it, Ken? Like, I can't. Compared to some of the other Transformers, is it scale?
It's probably, when you combine the two, it's probably 14 inches tall. Individually, they're somewhere around 10 to 12 inches each. Like Victory Leo, I think, is just over 10 inches, and Star Saber is close to 12. And if you combine the two, then it's probably about 14 inches tall. Like it's a big one, give or take. Now, Phil, you're in Japan right now, so what's your feel seeing this and potentially going to the shops nearby and being able to see this figure?
I've seen it a couple of times in some of the Transformer shops over here, but
Ken starting a shopping list.
So bloody expensive, though. Yeah. I think it looks like it would have been expensive back in the day as well. Like that is not a cheap looking toy. I don't think my parents would have been able to afford to buy it for me.
Okay. Well, I mean, I saw this in 1994 because I brought it over to my friend's house and I had some Power Ranger stuff, and the Megazords are relatively tall figures, and he brought this out and I was like, I'm going to use this to fight your Megazords, and that's what introduced me to this, right? And yes, I was into Power Rangers at the time, I was into wrestling at the time, but this kind of reinvigorated me. I'm like, oh my goodness, what is this Transformer? It is so cool. And it's interesting to hear the rest of your thoughts saying, no, it's Voltron-y, or it's not enough to get me back into Transformers. Because for me, it rejuvenated me a little bit. So it's just great to hear the other perspectives here, depending on what you were into at the time, your age, your surroundings. Yeah.
The lion mode looks pretty cool. I'll give you
yes.
that.
Yes.
So it's a triple changer, or is that just parts at the bottom there?
Let me just here. I'll just stop the screen. I'll just stop the share, and I'll throw you on solo layout here for a second, so we can have a look here. Yeah, I don't actually see that third mode very often. That almost looks like a makeshift type of mode. But that's actually
that is. The lion looks okay, but it kind of looks a bit like Power Rangers, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it is. But the lion also speaks to Voltron, like Ryan was saying, right? So, well, if anything, even if it's not underrated, even if it gets an NA rating due to its obscurity here in North America, at least we got to introduce the idea and the concept and the character to you. Because you got to bear in mind, this is 3 seasons after the movie. They do a full season of Headmasters in Japan, then a whole season of Master Force, and then they jump to Transformers Victory, and that's where it gets. That's where it gets its place in history. Now, I have managed to gaffe here and forgot to ask all of you if you thought Perceptor, Powerglide, and Scourge were overrated or underrated. I know we talked a bit about Beachcomber, but maybe let's wind the clock back a little bit and talk about Perceptor. Rated just right, overrated, or underrated? We got a bit of time, so Zays, let's start with you.
I rate Perceptor pretty highly, but that might just be because I have a personal connection to it and having it as a child. So, I mean, I rate him highly. I think he was actually, I forgot to mention it before, but he was, when they started re-releasing the Transformers, the G1s, he was one of the first and only ones that I picked up when going back into Transformer collecting. Everything else was new stuff, but he was one of the ones that I picked up knowing that, I had a connection to it. So personally, I rate him pretty highly.
Okay. Dreadnok Ryan?
Oh, you already know I'm going to say he's underrated. He's awesome.
Okay.
But,
sorry. You know what? I just realized you
two,
picked them. So
the other two figures, though, I think they were underrated as well, too. I really like them. Even Scourge, if I say it correctly, I think that the Transformers movie kind of just pissed people off too much, that they didn't appreciate how the figures changed and what you got from them. I mean, it was the first Transformer troop builder that you could have, and that just was awesome at that point, because you kill off Starscream or something else, they were gone. So
yeah,
but
yeah, I would say that Perceptor, as much as I don't like it, like as a toy, I've had no interest in it. You guys seem to be really into it, and you guys are Transformers fans for the most part. So I'll say that is rated properly. I don't think it's under or overrated. You guys seem to really love it. Makes no sense to me with the whole telescope thing, but that's okay. Scourge, I love him. I love that he was a new jet. So I say he is underrated. He's fantastic. And Powerglide, come on. Powerglide. He's the apex transformer for me. He was the perfect combination to a GoBot.
Yep.
Well, I know your thoughts on Scourge, Phil, but what about Powerglide or Perceptor?
Yeah, Perceptor's a bit of a grower for me. Like as a kid, I didn't really have much interest in him because he was I wasn't really interested in getting a microscope. I would have rather got a car or a jet. But as an adult collector, I've changed my opinion about Perceptor big time.
Yeah.
You've got some bots there.
Gazz or Scuba Pete, are you in the chat? Are you able to help me out and do the band thing? I don't know. Maybe you'll do it from StreamYard. But I'm
see,
not sure.
Adam, that's what you get for knocking Perceptor. Now we get the porn bots in here.
Yeah, basically.
Share my nudes. I saw X, Y, Z, and I thought, oh shit, they've got my nudes.
Yeah, I might be able to do it from stream. Oh, you know what? I can. There's a bit of a lag. Oh no, it says there's an error. So either somebody's already blocked them, or anyway, kind of interesting how we got the spam bots here. Okay.
Okay,
Right.
and then I'll move it on to Powerglide. I think he's just a cute little mini bot. He's great. He does look like he's a little boy with his pants down going for a pee in the toilet. But, I think he's brilliant. Yeah, I think he is the cutest Transformer. So he's
like your pet bot, sort of.
No, all I can think about now is he's like the Opie from the Andy Griffith Show of Transformers.
Yeah. I will say that out of all of us, I think Scourge was probably the underrated of the picks. So a true underrated Transformer there. Phil, good pick. Adam, I love Powerglide. I think he's probably in one of my top tiers for the mini bots. I love that character, and the way that you have incorporated the mini bots into your machine men or GoBots. It sort of harkens back to how we used to play as kids for where I was growing up, where the core could be in G.I. Joe and Ninja Turtles could be with the Toxic Crusaders. You can mix and match wherever it fits, and it sounds like you found a way to make it fit. So I appreciate that feedback coming from you and hearing a bit about what little Adam used to do.
Little
Addy.
So we got a few minutes. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Can I shot you a picture of your Victory Saber guy?
Yes.
Combined. Yes. I'm going to do something I can't believe I'm going to do.
Are you gonna? Do you want to share it? I might be able to pull it up here, but maybe if you've got it handy, you can share it on the screen.
Are you going to renege your opinion?
Yeah, I'm gonna actually. Oh God, I can't believe I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna actually sell why this is an awesome figure. If I can,
thank you.
Hold on, let's see if I can do this. I'm gonna share. Let's see if
there
this works.
I see it. I see it. You've got there you go. You got the combined mode going.
Oh my God, I can't believe I'm actually going to do this. Okay, I was born in 1976. In 1984, the greatest show I think I ever saw was Voltron that came out. That combined 5 lions into one giant robot, but we also got two other Voltrons. One was 3 robots that would combine into one, and then the other one was vehicle.
Yeah.
I had the Lions and the vehicle Voltrons, absolutely loved them. If this would have come out in 86 or 87, if Hasbro would have been smart enough to come out with this, combining the 2 robots into one, being that size, I would have had something to fight my Voltrons. And that would have been freaking awesome. The fact that Hasbro didn't bring out something like this after they brought us Jetfire from Macross and all the other, things, robots that they took, is just absolutely sad. I think this is actually a pretty damn cool looking robot.
Mm-hmm. There
I
you
can't
go.
believe I did that.
Yep. I do rank him on my rare Transformers I happen to own video from last year, just because he isn't that rare overseas, but over here he's hard to get. And like you said, it sounds to me, Ryan, like you almost were able to just build your own headcanon around this particular figure.
Well, yeah, just as a kid, I could play with any of my toys together. It didn't matter. That's what made them awesome. But to have, with Voltron, the biggest problem that they had is I never had a Robeast to fight. So they fought whatever teddy bear or, whatever giant thing you had. To have 2 big robots that could fight, that would have been awesome. That's like Godzilla stuff,
Mm-hmm.
So, but yeah, I think this is a cool choice. I just wish they would have put that out so that people could have bought it. I think it's cool.
I'm with you.
Now I understand why they did that as a HasLab, though, because I'm looking at this thing going, this doesn't look like a Transformer. This is one of those, model kit things that you got to put together that people are always talking about.
Like you said, that Gundam look. And if he had been released here and he'd been a hit, they may not have gone to HasLab. They might have just put everything to retail like they did everything else. Thank you for the links, Jody, and thank you for the links, Gazz, putting up the stream for Phil's channel, which will be on in about 10 minutes. Now, I can end this a few minutes early because I've been given a 5-minute honeydew list because apparently Ken is streaming, and it doesn't matter that he's streaming; he's still going to get the honeydew list. So, but why don't we go around the table here? Do any of us have an overrated Transformer? And yes, we can do hot takes here. Is there an overrated Transformer, Zayas?
Overrated. I'm trying to think. I mean, I guess maybe Ultra Magnus is a bit overrated.
No. Okay, fine. I asked you, so.
I mean, I don't hate it. I just think that, he's very highly rated and probably overly so.
Fair enough. All right. Ryan?
Optimus Prime is overrated.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. We don't have enough minutes in the day here to go into why, but you'll be hearing from me on private chat.
I'm gonna tag team with Ryan here, but in a different way, and say that Megatron is overrated. That robot mode is abysmal.
Yeah.
Just
you took my answer down. Yeah.
So you were gonna double up. You were gonna go with Megatron.
Megatron is terrible. Yeah. Awful.
Oh yeah,
the toy's not great. So
yes,
Ken is such a purist.
Ken, I'm not saying. I'm saying the toy Optimus
Look how
Prime.
sad Ken looks.
Yeah, we just broke his heart. He asked the question and we answered it. And now he's like, "I'm gonna go. I got a honeydew list. I'll be back in a minute."
Honeydew list. Yeah. Goodness. I asked the question and I didn't stop to think about it. I don't know. Maybe I'll just pick on. I'll just pick on Starscream because he ends up annoying you. But that's the low hanging fruit for overrated. It's like, it's like picking Jar Jar Binks out of Star Wars and being like, I don't like that guy. So,
and with Optimus, I think Bumblebee is like 1B for me is overrated because it's just been shoved down our throats so much.
Yeah.
The thing about Bumblebee though is he's supposed to be that relatable underdog that you're meant to like. So he's actually supposed to be underrated, but the exposure to him makes it feel a little overrated. So I totally feel you on that.
He's my Scott Tracker to Matt Tracker. That's who Bumblebee reminds me of. From
Fair
Mask.
enough. Fair enough. I see it. I see it.
Ken's so heartbroken.
I'm a little choked here. I gotta admit.
Well,
like
who did you pick, Ken?
I was gonna say Starscream, but that's low hanging fruit.
I thought Ken was going to be like, Gangster X from it was a Philippine release in '88. It was late in the line. What he was he was a scorpion
You know
that
what?
turned into a Jeep. My friend had him for a week, and then we lost him at a yard sale. But that was the most overrated Transformer ever.
You know what? I may as well have done that and just prayed that nobody knew what I was talking about and just called me on it. It's like, yeah. So guys are
Jetfire,
geek.
that's another overrated one. Yeah, fuck Jetfire. Who gives a shit?
No, never. But yes, I should have said Geyser Geek XY2 is overrated, and there's a childhood story
I'm going to take
related to
Ultra
that.
Magnus back and put in Jetfire or Skyfire. Just terrible. Bull crap Transformer. It's great Robotech.
Hey, Ken, I'm going to share this with you, though. The Dreadnoks are overrated, and so is Zartan. But that's okay. I still love them.
I know. So, gents, tune in next week for Ken's Cringe Fest, where he defends and refutes all things
Into Toy Kennections
that are sent here. But yes, everyone, we have another stream coming up. We're gonna have a very happy Ninja Turtle stream on Treasures for Trigger, followed by a Motu stream on Adam's GoFigure channel. This has been a really great.
Tonight, we're going to have Ken Cries, where he just streams and cries about all the trauma.
Yeah. I'll be late to the next one by a couple minutes. It'll give me some time to recover from this particular somewhat heartbreaker of a stream.
Can we get some
God,
love
Ken, you've already unsubscribed from my channel. Damn, that was fast.
Honestly, gentlemen, this was so much fun, and not only thanks to Xazyl for setting this up, but thanks to everyone for clearing their schedule to get this thing going. We've had a very loyal chat. Everyone's jumped in from the other streams here, and I think they're going to be following us throughout the rest of the evening. But I could use a very short break, and I think a few of you might be able to use a very short break. So we're gonna cut this 5 minutes for the hour.
Let's just add Phil's link to the chat real quick.
I already did, but I think it might have.
I'll do it again now, just so everyone knows where to jump in. Oh, you got it? Oh, there it is. All right, sweet.
Yeah.
Hey, are you going to drop Phil's link in our private chat then too, so we can?
I did
for the
that
streamer.
already now.
Yeah. I've actually got to switch. I've actually got to switch devices. So that's what's going to take me a bit of extra time because I'm running out of battery on this one. So I was using the whole sad face thing as a way to like pretend that I was really just crying. You guys would go easy on me since I forgot which Ninja Turtle character I picked. So anyway,
I believe you're legitimately upset.
Oh no, not at all. Not at all. You kidding me? I get ragged on my Transformers love all the time.
Go and have a drink, Ken.
Yeah. All right.
Thank you so much.
This has been so much fun.
This has been so much fun, and we got one last super chat to bring up onto the screen. Jody, you are always so kind, and says super chat just cuz Mark II, and appreciate all you gents being here, everyone in the chat, and we will see you over on Treasures for Trigger. Take care.
See you soon,
and have a good one.